Hey everybody, my name is Mason Hansey, and this is the description of inflammation to grama. So an overview of inflammation. Inflammation is the way of protecting the body against infection and harm from microorganisms and pathogenic entities. The body responds by releasing chemicals into the body that initiates the swelling and reaction we see externally at the site of interest. This attracts white blood cells to the site to attack any potential pathogen or danger to the body, otherwise known as phagocytosis. The dilation of blood flow leads to fluid and blood to circulate the site of injury. This reaction prevents worsening infections if controlled in a short time and stops the pathogen from spreading further throughout the body. It also helps maintain homeostasis in the body. Comparison features for grama. So on the left I have the scientific explanation of the hallmarks of inflammatory responses and the benefits or harms, and on the right I have the translation if I was describing those couple processes to my grandma. On the left, the body exhibits what is known as the triad of clinical signs. These are pain, redness, and heat. This is caused by elevated metabolism, vasodilation, and extravasation of fluids into the tissue. It occurs minutes after injury as immune cells respond to PAMPs. Heat and redness are caused by the vasodilation, which increases blood flow. Benefits include the sustainability of homeostasis, prevents spreading of pathogens through the vulnerable area, and a relatively short effective response. The downsides include chronic inflammation that can't be fixed by medicine and high fevers due to endotoxins present. So if I was going to describe this to my grandma, I would describe this way. Imagine your body is a castle and there are enemies that have breached the walls. Otherwise, back to immunology, an outside force entering body as a pathogen. The bugler on the lookout post blows his trumpet and sends a signal that danger is here. This would be like your APPs and your PAMPs, alerting cells of location of the pathogen. The soldiers inside rush to the enemy in one big wave where they all gather and start attacking said enemy. They surround them, but the area gets crowded and movement is difficult. Inflammation means extravasation of fluid, which is gathering of the fluid and pooling in one spot, and stiffness is a side effect of inflammation. This needs to be done to maintain the integrity of the castle and keep it structurally sound. If the soldiers finish the job quick and effective, then they subside and end the fight. This is the short effective response of inflammation. If they stay and fight continuously while not fixing the walls of the castle or fixing the structural integrity, they allow the threat to linger. The castle uses up its resources and loses that integrity. This is relatable to the body developing chronic illnesses like arthritis and spiking of fever as a result of ongoing inflammation. Another couple of comparison features for grama part 2. Systemic effect of cytokines, resolve or persistence of inflammation, regulation of innate and inflammatory responses. Cytokines released include IL-1, IL-6, and TNFs. These travel the blood and stimulate hepatocytes that secrete APPs. Increased white blood cell production means more synthesis of hydrocortisone and adrenocortisone. CRP binds to microorganism and can induce phagocytosis or lysis. Persistence of inflammation can cause chronic issues such as arthritis or cardiovascular diseases. IL-10 and IL-13 block NF-κB, which is a transcription factor that expresses immune responses. This is what regulates the inflammatory response in a cell and suppresses it. If symptoms persist for 4 to 6 hours, then macrophages and leukocytes attack the pathogen. At about a week, it becomes part of the humoral immune system. I'd explain these in a couple of different ways. For the cytokines released, I would describe it as a dispatcher that alerts the police of a threat and alerts them to the area of danger in a body. For the CRP binding, I would say that it acts as the police and that it is dispatched and neutralizes the threat by arresting and handcuffing the criminal. For the inflammation being chronic, I would describe it as leaving a turkey in the oven for too long. The use of heat is important to heat up the turkey to a safe temp to eat and rid it of any bacteria, but if left in the heat for too long, it makes it inedible. much like my grandma's turkey. Some heat is a good thing when it is used for its purpose, but too much of it for too long has detrimental effects, just like inflammation. For the description of IL-10 and IL-13 blocking an FKB, I would describe it as a stoplight. A stoplight slows traffic and prevents traffic from moving. Even when it seems beneficial to the flow, it slows it down, stops it to prevent further issues down the line with an overflow of traffic. Finally, I'd like to describe the timeline of inflammation to the likes of boxing. A quick response of the macrophages is like one quick punch, but as you adjust to the opponent in the ongoing fight, that certain punch becomes part of your arsenal, and you've used it enough where you recognize its strengths, and it becomes commonplace. And that's just like the adaptive immune system and the fact that it uses past knowledge when it comes to fighting pathogens. And that is all. Here are my references, and thank you. Have a good one. Goodbye.